I hate the term hot seat. Even if you think it's appropriate, I hate the term. I think it's goofy. I think it's silly. I think the whole sports world is full of cliches anyway. They're tired. So I guess I take the hot seat to mean, okay, you're under pressure. But there are a dozen college coaches, and I think gas has been poured on this whole, quote, who's on the hot seat thing by a story that's come out today about Deion Sanders. So this whole landscape gets more interesting because of him, and now because of more drama about him. But I take the hot seat to mean more pressure. There are a dozen college coaches under pressure. I think the better way to look at it, the stupid hot seat term, I think the best way to look at it is this. Unless there's a dramatic turnaround, usually that means 3 to 5 games, these coaches are going to get whacked there. That's more interesting. That you can digest. They're going to get whacked, and they should. That's fired. They're going to get fired. What ramps up the speed, and there's really, the whole landscape of college football has changed because there are not that many jobs to have, and there are not that many jobs that are desirable. And you're going to think, well, Jeff, it's always been that way. That's not true at all. Because of the sugar daddy model, NIL, that now exists, a lot of coaches know better than to bail on one program to go to another because it's really a cash mercenary game now. So you really, if you're coaching, you really only want to go to one of the places in the SEC or the Big Ten that can practice that kind of sugar daddy game. They have cash. So the opportunities are fewer, I think. And I think a lot of coaches are getting frustrated. That's why you see some of these coaches like Chip Kelly, who's the head coach at UCLA, is now calling plays at Ohio State because it's just the sugar daddy game has made the business even more unappealing for coaches. But what ramps up the speed and all of these, you better win 3 to 5 more or you get whacked stories, is Deion Sanders. I even say, call me crazy, but I would even say to a lesser extent, John Gruden and Urban Meyer. The better the season Colorado has, the closer to getting whacked these coaches will get. Except for the drama that's now out about Deion Sanders, which I can't quite figure out how that's going to play out. But let me say it again. Whatever coach you think is under pressure that's really about to get whacked or runs the risk of getting whacked, that is the better the season Deion Sanders has, the more likely is they're going to get whacked. So I would do this. Here are some categories to look at people, coaches, in this risk category of getting whacked, fired. One would be not now, but soon, but next year. There is a category of coaches that I can argue with you right now and say it may not happen this season, may not, but it's coming soon, depending on how Deion Sanders does. That's really it. That's what fast tracks somebody getting fired. At a football factory, and there are a few that are at risk now, at a football factory, the firing is fast tracked by how Colorado does. There are not that many marketable coaches. That's why I'm throwing out John Gruden and Urban Meyer. There's just not that many. Ask the Aggies about that. There's not a whole lot of sex appeal. So not now, but soon goes Lincoln Riley at USC. USC money and Deion Sanders' success could fast-track this if they don't win 8 games. A losing record at USC, a 6+ season for Colorado, and Lincoln Riley is toast. Here's what you get with Lincoln Riley. He's the head coach at USC. He's the, quote, quarterback whisperer, right? And he really has been. It's an amazing track record. Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, go down the list. But here's what you get. And people have now figured out this is what you get. The body of work is now big enough to realize that Lincoln Riley plays flag football, and it's a problem. It's going to be a real problem in the SEC. I mean, in the Big Ten. It's going to show itself even more. He's a coach that has a defense that gives up 6 yards of play. I hate to get super nerdy on you, but no one's winning with 6 yards of play. You can't offset 6 yards of play. I get 6 yards of play, I beat your team every time. No team can live with giving up 6 yards of play. That's how you have only a 6-win season. The idea of winning football consistently 53-51 is not possible. Giving up 6 yards of play means you're going to give up 50 points a game. Here's all you have to know about Lincoln Riley. He had the number 1 pick in the draft, Caleb Williams. He couldn't win with that. No offense can outpace giving up 6 yards of play. Am I saying he gets fired this year? Probably not. But he's at real risk, and he should be. And they can't wait around, and money may not be an object for them. They got him a house, a couple of houses, a jet, and $100 million. If A&M can say, here's $90, get out of our face, USC can do it. Look out. The category of likely to get fired. Likely, very likely to get fired. Dave Aranda at Baylor, the numbers don't lie. I'm not putting him in the category of dead man walking, but I'm putting him in the category of likely to get fired for pretty good reason. The numbers don't lie. Baylor won 12 the year he took over. That's with Matt Rule's players. Then he wins 3 games in year 3. That's on you. Okay, it's hard to cover that one up. It's hard to say, but I'm doing a good job when you went from 12 to 3. They only score about 20 points a game. That's in a flag football league like the Big 12. It's not acceptable. In this environment now, when it's all about mercenaries and cash, you can't live like that and be a competitive program. And Baylor can't. I don't know what they can do in return. I would say they would never hire John Gruden, but they can look away at a lot of stuff. But he's likely to get fired. I don't know how he makes it past this season. Sam Pittman, who's at Arkansas, he's in year 5. They give up almost 30 points a game. He brought in Bobby Petrino, who's a legendary coach and kind of a weirdo, but he brought him in to save his offense. And the problem is Arkansas might hire Bobby Petrino again. I could see Arkansas making a run at someone like John Gruden. I could see it. I got this feeling that John Gruden, who lost his job or quit his job under pressure with the Raiders because he was caught up in a mafia-like scandal for the NFL to run the owner of the Washington franchise out of the game, and then in the process of trying to dig up dirt, everyone's digging up dirt. All the owners are digging up dirt. The owner of Washington, the Commanders, is digging up dirt, and in the process, they catch John Gruden private emails, dropping N-bombs and being a misogynist and pretty much a jackass. Those surfaced, he quit his job. He's been suing the NFL. He's a really good coach, obviously, and he's been trying to fix his reputation and get back in the game. I don't think a powerhouse would hire him, but I could see somebody mid-level trying to scrap their way back to the top. Someone like an Arkansas might make a run at John Gruden. I'm serious. I don't even know if it'd be a terrible idea. It's going to be tough to sell against or sell for the fact that the dude in the past dropped some N-bombs. But it might be what they have to do. So at Arkansas, when you ever say, what happened to that guy, that's what John Gruden has been. He's been trying to fix his reputation and sue the NFL. He keeps losing the lawsuits, and he seems to want to get back in. He was once the highest paid employee at ESPN. So I don't know. It just feels like and looks like someone like Arkansas would make a run at him. Then there's this category of dead man walking. That is, you're fired. Like the day of training camp, you're fired. The day of the first game, you're fired. You're fired in October. You're fired, man. Billy Napier at Florida. You're fired. And I'm going to get rich, which is pretty cool. Any one of us would walk away with a few million and be perfectly content. 7 losses in a row. Okay, got it. 7 losses. Next season, 7 losses. This is at Florida. And now a schedule that includes Miami, A&M, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State. That's 7 losses again. If Florida only lost 4 or 5, I could make a case he's coach of the year. Seriously. They finished with 5 games in a row against top 12 teams. He's going to get fired, and he's going to need Xanax. It's brutal. They've lost 7 at Florida, which is unacceptable, period. They lost 7 again at Florida, unacceptable, period. And then he looks up at this schedule that is impossible. You're dead man walking. And the only mystery is, what do they do? Is that the Deion Sanders path, and has that path started already? And oh, by the way, what about the stories that are coming out now about Deion Sanders in Colorado? How does that play into maybe Baylor, I doubt it, an Arkansas, a Florida, a USC, these big-time programs that probably will have him on the radar. The fact that stories are out now at Colorado, some former players are disgruntled, which is not new. They're saying that there's fights within the program. One guy said it's like the real-life Grand Theft Auto 5. So then we have to pivot to Deion Sanders. I think he's the best thing that happened to the game in the past 25 years, but in the past 7 months, he has mishandled things publicly. Here's the deal with Deion Sanders. Of these programs I just mentioned, okay, I don't know if Arkansas will be in play for someone like Deion Sanders. I doubt it, but Florida and USC could. They really could. Michigan, possibly. But here's the thing with Deion Sanders. The publicity is exactly what you want. The baggage is not what you want. Big-time programs don't necessarily need the publicity, but they'll take it. And up until now, the publicity around Deion Sanders has been rock star-like, because he is a rock star. In the past 5 months, myself included, he has ripped former players. He has gotten petty. He has gone social media high school girl on a lot of guys, and it's been a bad look. And if you're Florida or USC, someone looking to give him anything he wants, you don't want the baggage part. And now the story's out that the program at Colorado is a little out of control. I don't know how much of that is true. I don't know how much of that is disgruntled former players, but noise matters. When you're going to pay a coach $100 million, particularly if you're someone like USC, and you whack Lincoln Riley for $100, and you turn around and pay Deion Sanders $100, you can't make a mistake again, and you don't want the baggage. So they're now going to have to figure out, is any of this stuff true? They're going to have to try to convince him, if they made a run at him, please stop acting the way you do on social media to players you kick off the team. It's a bad look. It's cheap. It's petty. And now some of the players that he took shots at publicly on social media are coming back and talking trash and saying, listen, let me tell you what it's like in that program. And it's a bad look. All players, like anyone who gets fired, you hate your boss and your boss sucks, right? Players do the same thing. It's no fun to get cut. You're not going to like the coach. Just like you get fired, you don't like your boss. Deion Sanders has made the mistake of stirring it up and going after these guys and talking trash about them publicly after he's whacked them. And now it's becoming kind of a problem. It's a brand problem that's not a problem right now for Deion Sanders, but it could be a problem for someone like USC, Florida, or even possibly Michigan. Then what? There's your list. Not now, but next year. Likely to get fired. And then dead man walking.